Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what is the second day of log modification. Now, I like to recap because in my excitement watching chainsaws and timber frame and chisels, I don't know if I properly covered what we're doing here. So this is going to be where cabinets go. And if you can see, well, that lumpiness is not super conducive to putting cabinets up against. We need flat and plumb. So what comes into play is a little bit of log notching. So we can put ourselves some 2x4s, just like this, in the slot, timber screw, like that. And if you can picture that down the way, that's how you get flat and plumb for cabinets. So the log building guy gone, awesome dude. What a fantastic experience. He took the time to teach me a lot of things actually. The guy, and this is how you know you're dealing with a good dude, okay? I don't lend tools to anybody. Other than my dad and a couple of close buddies, hard rule, I don't lend tools. He left me a few of his log building tools behind because, well, it's actually a tool, if you can believe, a tool I don't own. I do own an ADZE, but I don't own one the proper width for doing what we're doing. So super cool guy. I'm gonna use him. We'll get him returned to him, you know, in proper condition and continue on here. So what we're gonna be filming, you're gonna be watching me do here, is chopping out the last bit of flats to be done. Get everything lined up on this wall. And basically what we did is there's our reference line, square, and then square to that wall. Everything was based off of that. And then basically with a level, like I showed you, if I showed you, I hope it turned out, we know the depth that needed to be cut. So he went along with a saw. That's why he was here, knows what he's doing. Nice straight cuts in, and then it's marked, this one, see, 1/4 inch. And well, it turns out I've developed a pretty keen eye for swinging the old ADZE, and you just take off what you need. So I don't think I can explain it. You don't want an explanation, you just want to watch it happen. So let's get to it. Alrighty, well, we'll just start right here. That one's done, I did that one last night. A 1/2 inch, 0 on that one. Well, 0, that's easy, we can accommodate this. And this one, a 1/2 inch. The old handle on his ADZE leaves a little bit to be desired. She's loosey-goosey. What did I get? I got rusty overnight. Better not enough than too much, right? There's no putting her back. And for every one of these that gets too deep, you got to put shim behind it, thus creating more work. So let's not do that. That's pretty good. Next one's a 1/4. Just a 1/4 inch. I'll tell you, that fella knows how to sharpen a tool. This thing is not kidding around. What do we got on the next one? 0, then a 1/2. Of course, the guy's got to be down on his knees to get the bottom ones. If you find yourself on your knees at work, you might be in the wrong line of work, depending on what you're doing. Oh boy, there's a few ways you could take that, I guess. What do you guys think? Does that look like a 1/2 inch? Spending time with that guy. First of all, he's 68 years old. And I'll tell you what, he looked better and functioned better than most guys I see in their 30s. So that was awesome. That an inch? Yeah, it looked like an inch to me. yeah, man, he was in good shape. I got to get the top one now. Then the top one just says a 1/2 inch. So yeah, he left me a couple of timber frame and chisels. And now, like my timber frame and chisel, I got a mallet for him, right? He asked me if I had a hammer, and I give him, he says, oh, I'd like a 2 or 3 pound hammer, and I give him this. And that's what he was using, so I guess that's what I'll use too. He didn't seem to mind that, you know, because it's a little hard on that ring, but he said, you know, that's what it's for. It's a tool to be used. So it's funny when you own a tool for like a hobby versus, you guys are shaking like the wind here. The GoPro's supposed to take care of that, but when you own a tool for a hobby versus for production work, you got a different view of things. Pretty easy to sneak a 1/2 inch off here in short order. Oh, my pocket's ringing. Gotta take a phone call. Well, let's finish up getting this 1/2 inch off. I got a little bit of a phone call interruption there. You know, I'm a man in demand. Oh, that's good stuff. Look at that peel off of there. So anyways, this old boy, 68, been building log homes for like, oh, what did he say? Well, it's basically his whole life. He's been in business. I think he said he was in business for like the last 30 some years or something like that. You see how well I paid attention? Because I was so excited about the going on. Oh my God, does that fit good? Oh, and it's right on the line too. Holy smokes, did we get this the first try? Nope, we didn't. Anyways, I've stopped and started a story about 15 times. I think he's been in business building log homes for a long time, but you know, getting to talking to him, what it really got me thinking, we were having a chit chat after, is I find it get rarer and rarer to find people like that these days that are doing really, you know, like just cool stuff, you know, like this guy's running around in the bush getting trees, building, you know, houses for people out of logs, and he's got a sawmill, and he's doing, you know, doing that his whole life. How cool is that? You know? Now you ask people, oh, what'd you do on the weekend? They're like, oh, I don't know, you know. Nothing. Boring. We got into a whole discussion about that, you know, him trying to find guys to do this kind of specialized craft, which is a dyeing, you know. And then the fact that literally our own government is, well, it's a big surprise, is changing the rules on, you know, the building codes and stuff, basically making it so you can't even build houses like this anymore. That'll be approved and pass an inspection because of the energy efficiency rules and 400 other rules, you know? It's just ludicrous. That's why I'm enjoying doing this, because it's, you know, I'm just giving you a bit of a sense of what, I don't know. You imagine just being out pioneering around and building your own house out of logs? Man, that's deadly now. I got a little fat up top there. I think I'll have to shim it. It's got to go in a bit. So still, just this one here where it said 1/4. Turned out to not be 1/4. It turned out to be a little more. Oh, all right. I just had to backtrack a hair. So what we did is this line here, as I described before, is perfectly parallel to the foundation, and that's what we're basing everything off, because the foundation was quite square. Thankfully, you got to have a flat, straight reference point somewhere in the operation. And then we just pulled the 3, 4, 5 triangle out and snapped a line this direction. And when I put my reference board in, I thought, huh, that don't look just quite right. This one, deadly, but this last one, we're shooting for perfection here. We're just gonna take a little more out of it because of course we got a 90-degree set of cupboards here that have to join together. And I know the cabinet guys, they got filler strips and all this kind of thing, but the less somebody else has to do, well, the better off we are, because that needs to be scored first rather than get the chainsaw out. We can just go like this. Should be able to just go like this. There we go. You gotta cut on both sides because if you don't, well then it just becomes a rip tear operation and it makes a big mess of the logs and the piece doesn't pop out like you want. So I need to take about 1/4 inch off of this one here. Something so like that. You know, it's no wonder why you don't see, well, I'm not saying you shouldn't say you don't see, but probably less common to see businesses that do this kind of thing start up because there's just not the demand for it. You know, that's what we were talking about kind of all day yesterday is, you know, what's happening to the character of buildings. Really, we need another 1/4 inch out of all that to be square. We level, not level, plumb. Oh, it's perfect. Oh my God. That one, and the top one, and the bottom one. You know, you just don't see this demand for character in a home anymore. They want it flat and smooth and hardy boarded and granted, a timber frame home or a log home is a heck of a lot of work, maintenance wise, on the exterior in particular. Get the ADZE tool here. I was actually on the phone with there's a local outfit that sells a lot of these tools, and I thought, you know, what does a guy proper do? If you borrow tools off of somebody, you should try and return them in better shape than you received them. That's just an unwritten rule. So the duct tape handle, I'm gonna try and source a handle for the fella in a show of you know, a little bit of appreciation for him letting me use it. You leave in the comments though, should you rehandle the tool? Or just give the tool back with the new handle? I think that's what I'm leaning towards because, I mean, he was a man of few words, like a lot of older fellas from that generation are, but say you go ahead, well, on an ADZE, it's not really a big deal because the head just slides off the handle, but I'll give him the old handle back. Because say that he has a real, I don't know, some people have strong attachments to things. Maybe he loves that handle, or somebody gave it to him, or I doubt that's the case, but you know what I'm saying? And you go ahead and cut it off, like you borrowed an axe from somebody or a hammer, and you go ahead and rehandle it or modify it, and they're like, oh, well, they might appreciate the gesture, but they also might be like, well, what the hey? That was my, whatever, that was my grandpa's, or who knows what the story might be. Better than you found it, but also the same way you found it, if that makes sense. It'd be like if you borrowed someone's truck, right? You're not gonna give the truck a paint job. You're not gonna change the truck, but you might bring it back with a full tank of gas. If you see what I'm saying? It's better than it was, but you didn't change it. I think we got her there. Beautiful. Okay, that wall's done. I got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left over there, and a double check on this one. That's a considerable amount of wood. Come out of there. Just gonna give her a old Milwaukee relief cut here. And then a trimming. I feel like we're gonna need a little more at the bottom. Got that feeling about it like that. Try that out. We're on the pencil line, deadly, that's good. And level, perfect, done. Another one done. Man, we have been through so much here. I don't even remember where we're at for the video. Forgive me if we've skipped a few portions without you. Floor, walls, and we even had some plumbers here again. How do you know a plumber's been here? Well, the sawdust on the floor, holes in things, pipes that do stuff. They did a tidy job in the attic. They did a tidy job in the crawl space. It's looking beautiful. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I got so excited with the log building portion that, you know, we may have skipped a couple steps. I don't even remember what we filmed. Subfloor, you know, you saw what was under that. And really nothing too crazy. Why are these plywooded? Well, maybe now is a good time to really give a solid explanation of what we were doing here when we strapped. So of course, strapped, right? So we got a nice flat surface to mount cabinetry to. And that's exactly what this is about. So this used to be logs, and now it's plywood and plywood. You're not gonna be able to see any of that. Essentially the cabinetry runs full length all the way out to the end, and then it's gonna come all the way to here, and then the cabinet guy is gonna have a nice end cap, so this will all be enclosed top and bottom, and it'll just look like gorgeous cabinetry. Same thing here, cabinet to here. We're gonna bring this out. This is gonna be closed in. This is actually gonna be a painted surface to match these walls over here. A very nice blue color that's been selected. I'm a big fan, actually. It's gonna be very bright and cheery in here. Went from very dark, if you remember, the cedar ceiling, which some people are gonna cringe and go, oh, I can't believe that got covered up. Well, it's getting covered up. Just a nice, simple, flat, and painted white ceiling is gonna look real nice. A lot of lighting going in. Electrician, he's next week. We're gonna team up. So right now, after all the plumbing and multiple renovations, it's not the first time that work has been done to this home in the course of its life. There were large sections on this side of the house where the vapor barrier from the attic was either compromised or completely gone. Over the tub, there had been probably a tub installed at some point in the ceiling. You can see here, the cedar. There's a big hole here. No vapor barrier, plywood, and there's no vapor barrier under that plywood either. So we're redoing the vapor barrier quickly. I am gonna put some furring strips on the ceiling because of course, lo and behold, a house that's 40, 50 years old, the ceiling is not flat. And in this portion, very important that it is flat. We need everything flat and square and level and plumb to everything because cabinets do not fool around. So that's where we're at. You missed some framing, but if you're bummed out that you missed the framing portion, I'll tell you, go back in the channel. we framed more than one thing. So find a video that's got some framing and satisfy that need. What the heck is this, you might ask? That is the world's sturdiest return air duct. We had all the leftover 2x10s from the floor. If you remember, the ends were compromised, but a lot of it was still good wood. So of course, you know, we saved all that stuff. Worked out good. We used it to frame a good portion of this wall. This wall is extra thick. These are 2x10s here because we need to capture the logs and provide a flat space on the inside of this room for more cabinetry. So that's a wide wall. What was my point? What is this thing? Well, it's a header. None of this is load bearing in this box. The house is a box. Free span trusses. But if you have the lumber and it only takes an extra 5 minutes, why not put headers and beef things up? If you build it as if it is structural, well, you can't go wrong. The hardier, the better. Same thing. Of course, we didn't have room for a full 2x10 because it's an interior wall, but we filled the space. That is solid wood. We've got cripples, king studs, the full deal. If it can support, if you can provide a little extra support, well, then, you know, just why the heck not? Oh, did I already push the button? I already pushed the button. All right, we're strapping the ceiling. So there's a laser over there. You can simply go like this with the tape. Boop, 23 inches, 23 inches. And then we know back here, we gotta put, what are we calling that? 7/8 of an inch. So what happened is the log, when it was built, everything kind of did this. Oh, I'm looking at you. Sag. So we're just gonna make up that with these. So I got 5/8, 1/2 inch, tapers out to nothing, flat, and then we can put our sheetrock, gyprock up on the ceiling and have a nice flat deal. So that's what these are for. And they're screwed into the trusses, right? So everything's solid. And at this next one, I think we're within 1/8 of an inch, so probably don't have to worry about it. 1/8 of an inch. I don't even have anything that thin here, so it's gonna have to work. Cut these down to make sure they land on a truss. Even though the ceiling is sheeted, or not sheeted, but it's got a solid tongue and groove cedar on it, you still want to be screwing into this framing member, not just reliant on that layer of cedar to hold up the drywall. More meat the better. We're just going 1/2 inch drywall on the ceiling because it's not carrying the weight of the insulation and such. You know, it's just holding itself up there. So that's the reason for 5/8 on a ceiling. It's for sag in between trusses. You know, in the case of a what you call it, insulated attic, but here it's going to be flat on the ceiling. We can screw in between, so it's really not necessary. Drop my drill. Didn't need that because I didn't remember to bring my other drill. It actually has a belt loop on it, or a hook. That of course would make that easier. Okay, and this goes right like that. There, nothing to it. Holy Christ, it's even flat against the wall. That must mean it's square. Yeah, buddy. Okay, we get a few screws in it. See how she looks. All right, so we can get rid of this. That's not actually meant for that. This is a post for a laser level to clip onto, but well, it was here, so that's what I'm using. Now, I did go ahead and nail all the tongue and groove cedar to the trusses again. It was just held up with finishing nails, so I went ahead with the framing nailer and beefed her up. I should go get my drywall screw gun. I don't really like it, to be honest. That's the cordless Milwaukee version. I don't really care for it. Oh yeah, putting that extra one in between was a good idea. This gives it that extra holding power. Got her. All right, folks, well, we're gonna cut her there. You know, these big renovation projects, where do you stop and start a video? Don't ask me, it's new to me. I'm just making it up as I go. So we're gonna cut her there. It's going swimmingly well. It kind of just, you know, looks like a big fort at the moment to play around in, but it's getting somewhere. Electrician is the next stage. He's starting next week, so we're gonna teamwork together for a couple days, get the electrical banged out, drywall, some paint, some cabinets, some beautiful floor, onward, upward, and then on to phase 2 of the project, which will include, yes, septic systems. Who doesn't want to do a septic system? If you are curious what that's all about, back in the channel, done a couple videos on them. We've done 1 or 2, and this year, bound to do 1 or 2 more. Thank you for watching, and as always, we don't always know what the next adventure is going to be, but we know there's gonna be one. Right, Rodeo?